Okay, and here we are, delighted to be joined here today by London 2012 Olympic gold medalist, Luke Campbell MBE. Thanks very much for popping down to the studio today, Luke.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. How was your new year?
Yeah, good. Quiet one with the family. But other than that, it was good.
Now, as you can tell, people will realise this, that I'm not a boxer, so I kind of eat all year round. But what's it like for a boxer when you're training, you kind of juggling dates when it comes around to Christmas, when all like the chocolates and everything come open? What was it like for you this Christmas?
You know, it's boxing for me is a lifestyle. You know, you've got to live the lifestyle to be the best, because, you know, if you're not doing it, your opponents are. So for me, while I'm boxing, I just think I've got to live the lifestyle and be the best I can be while I'm doing boxing. So
no like cheat meals, crazy kind of.
Yeah, I mean, you have your time. I certainly don't live like a monk.
Yeah.
But you know, you have your time where you can eat what you want and relax, and because you know you got to switch off as well. You do have to switch off. You know, there's living the life, but then there's also taking it a step too far. So you got to switch off and relax and enjoy life.
Yeah, Shane, obviously your trainer Shane McGuigan has said in the past about kind of building up a little bit of chub so you can kind of work it off when you get back into the gym. Some of us are taking that a little bit too far, but
the first thing he did mention when we was back in the gym doing some pads was, "Oh, I can feel that Christmas weight on them pads."
Okay, ahead of what's I'm sure going to be a very exciting 2019 for you, I'd just like to go back really to the start and kind of get your story out there. You're somebody who, I mean, it surprises everybody when I say to them, you're 31 years old. So you've are you?
I am.
See, I had to double check, even though I know that. But you've been around for a long time. I mean, you Olympics was coming on 7 years ago now.
Is that 7 years? Yeah. Wow.
It's incredible to think
it was as long as that.
Yeah. So tell me about the start, really. I mean, you are from Hull. You are a Hull lad.
Hull.
Hull. That's better. Yeah.
I don't think there's any posh way saying Hull.
I was going to say, living in London sort of agreed with you now that you're actually pronouncing your H's.
I'm trying.
So tell me about growing up in Hull. Not a place that I've been to, so set the scene for me. What was it like growing up in Hull? You
know, home is where the heart is, really. I love it. I love the people from Hull. You know, you can certainly tell the difference from the people in Hull when you come down south, and people they're a little bit different. I mean, if we're walking through a door, I'll hold it open for you to walk through. But obviously, people down here are too busy. Everybody's in a rush. They've got their own lifestyles, and it can be a knock-on effect. Like when you're walking through a door and you hold it for the next person, you know, then they'll sort of do it. But if you come down here and hold the door for someone and they just walk through without acknowledging you or saying thank you, you're like, then you don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just, I guess it's like a knock-on effect down here.
No southern hospitality. That's terrible. That's no good.
I love it in London though, regardless. London's great.
What was it like going to school? I mean, you're somebody who still already looks like you haven't left school that long ago. But what was it like growing up in school? Were you good at school? Bad at school? I can't imagine you ever being like a school rebel or a rogue.
Yeah, I wasn't the best in school. I only knuckled down in my last 2 years of school just because I was worried I needed a backup, because I just thought, you know, I could get injured tomorrow and who knows, I'm not boxing anymore, then what? So I had to start knuckling down in school in my last 2 years to try and get some grades. And I went for a plumber's course at college, and I failed the plumber's test. Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, well, it's good. I mean,
I was meant to fail that.
You can always go back to the plumbing after boxing.
Nah, I don't think plumbing's for me, to be honest.
Any specialist subject at school? Apart from PE, which is probably, I'd imagine, what was
I enjoyed PE. I enjoyed history.
Really?
Yeah, I like a bit of history. Interesting.
Right, any specific part of history?
With the JFK, the shooting, and, you know.
You're one of them conspiracy theorist guys. What's your view on the whole JFK thing?
I'm a big conspiracy man, yeah.
Are you?
Big conspiracy
man.
man.
Like what?
I don't know, but I just think that I don't know. I think everyone would be surprised what secrets the government can hold.
What's your views on the whole JFK thing?
I don't know. I think people were saying he was on the verge of causing a war. And that's not good for business, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was his own people that arranged it and got him taken out, and set people up. There was about 7 different shooters that, and all witnesses got wiped out. So it's very...
there's like the lone gunman theory, and obviously the Lee Harvey Oswald stuff.
Yeah,
and
I don't believe he did it.
Okay.
But he was just there. He was an easy target to put it on.
He had like the communist background as well, so he was like
obviously they've done the research to like this guy here could be an easy target for us. Is look at his past and he's not a full shilling or whatever. I don't know, but I don't know. It really interests me.
I would never have pinned you down as like a conspiracy theory guy.
Yeah,
that's really surprising. Interesting start. Tell me about your pathway into boxing and the first time you went through the gym. A lot of people always talk about kind of getting bitten by the bug and sort of going into the gym. Was that like that for you, or was it something that kind of gradually happened?
Yeah, no, I've always wanted to do boxing, and I just never really had the opportunity to do it. And one day there's a boxing gym around the corner from where I live as well, and a friend from down the street was going. And he said, I'm going to the boxing gym tonight. Do you want to go with me? And he asked me and my younger brother, Kane. So I said, yeah, okay. And that night we went to the boxing. Me and my brother carried on going. And then my friend stopped going. And then it got to one night where my brother said, I'm going to go boxing. And I turned around and said, I can't be bothered with it tonight. I'm not going to bother. And then he goes, okay. I'm still going to go though. So then my brother went, and as he went, I felt really sad that I'd let him go on his own. And then I sat there for about 10 minutes thinking, go with him. I didn't like the thought that he was going on his own. So then I got my stuff, caught him up. I ran to him and caught him up, and then we went to the boxing together. But I guess if he would have turned around and said that night to me, I'm not alright. If you're not going, I won't go.
What might have been?
Maybe there's a possibility, and never would have gone back into the boxing gym again.
So how old were you when that was happening?
I was 13.
13.
Yeah, okay. I played rugby league at the time. 13. I was short and stocky, believe it or not. Started boxing at like 51 kilo, short and stocky, and then as I started going boxing, then I started growing a little bit taller, and the weight, I think I lost like 9 kilos, went down to 42 kilo.
What was it like boxing with your brother? How long did he kind of keep it up?
He kept it up a couple of years, but the first gym we was at, they just sort of threw us in. We was only in the gym 2 months before we was carded and having our first fights. And we boxed on the same 2 shows, and I've been in the gym 2 months. I'm coming up for my first fight, and I'm fighting someone who's had 7 fights, won 3, but been boxing like 5 years. Been doing it 2 months. And anyhow, this guy, it's on my own boxing show. He beats me on points, and my brother gets beat on points. And then maybe 4 or 5 weeks later, we had a rematch, and we went to them. And I remember actually warming up for that fight, and I just weighed in. Second I'd weighed in, I had a crisp sandwich with a chocolate bar and a can of Coke, and then literally 5 minutes after that I was warming up to get in the ring.
What was that like?
I was blowing out my ass warming up. I hit the pads a couple of times. I was burping up crisps. And I was knackered on the pads just warming up. And my brother was the same. I think my brother was in quicker than I was in.
Did you win that fight?
We both got stopped. I was just knackered. In the third round, I didn't think I could lift my arms up, and he was winging away, and I just got stopped because I was just exhausted.
Because you'd had a crisp sandwich and a can of Coke.
Literally 10 minutes before that, I was exhausted.
So was it kind of like...
I think that guy's in prison now.
Oh, really?
Apparently.
Okay, interesting. Okay, no rematch anytime soon. What was that? So obviously you lost your early fights. Was there ever kind of a thought of okay, well maybe it's going to be kind of a hobby? Like,
this is what I don't understand. I look back now thinking, I lost my first 2 fights, then I won 2 fights, and then I lost 4 in a row. And now I look back thinking, why did you carry on? Like, why didn't you?
Should have been a plumber.
You know, you've lost 6 fights and you've won 2. You've won 2 fights out of 8. Why did I carry on?
Why did you carry on?
Because I just had something burning inside of me, like some desire, some passion. Because every time I wanted to go in the ring, I wanted to be better than I was yesterday, and that has got me where I am today.
It's kind of the essence of it, though, isn't it? That kind of mindset, even back then, is kind of what drives that. If you've got that, I don't want to say you've got half a chance, because obviously being a fighter is so difficult anyway. Yeah. But if you've got that certainly helps to go a long way, right?
Oh, 100%. I mean, people actually don't never say that dedication is a talent. People always say, I was one of the most naturally talented fighters, but I just didn't have that dedication. Well, excuse me, dedication, it is a talent. To be dedicated to your craft, that is actually probably the biggest talent you can have. So it annoys me when people say I was naturally talented, but I just didn't have no dedication. Well, it don't come. You need the dedication to be talented, but people don't realise that.
So you're 2-6 after 8 fights. Yeah. When did you get good? I mean, that's a very general question to ask someone. When did you kind of think like, okay, like I'm good at this, I can do this? When was that?
Not for years later, really. I moved gyms after that. Then I went to St Paul's. I moved there, and then I started winning a few. Then I went into a championships. I got beat in the first round. I think I got stopped by this kid who was a 2-time national champion or something like that. He stopped me. And then continued boxing. Then the following year later, I'm meeting this national champion again in the first round, and I whoop him, give him a right beating. And then I think I got to the final of that championships, and then got invited on the England camps, and that's when I realised that, oh, hang on a minute, I'm doing well here.
What was it like for your parents when you were growing up? They're very supportive of your boxing. I have kids, as you do as well. Yeah. I mean, it's probably different for you because you're a fighter, but like, I mean, I have a daughter. If she wanted to box, I would kind of be like, wouldn't necessarily want. Were your parents like that with you?
Yeah, definitely. They would very supportive, but never push me, never force me. Like, if one night I got home from school and I said I won't go in training, they wouldn't make me go. That
kind of gave you that.
It was all everything
you wanted to do.
Yeah, everything was on me. Like, they wouldn't make me go. Everything was on me. It was whether I wanted to do it or not. But certainly, like my dad. Remember when my dad used to take me for a run in the morning before school. We used to go out early before school, and there was a massive field. So he used to park his car in at the field, stand there with his binoculars while I'd run round, because it was a big field. He'd had to keep an eye on me with his binoculars. And then I sometimes, from far across the field, I could hear him screaming. And then other people was around, and I just head down thinking, he's not with me. They're like, come on, finish strong. Like, and then sometimes I'd come home from school and we'd do a little circuit together in the garden, and then I'd go to the boxing gym on the night. So it was, and then he'd pick me up. I'd maybe get the bus there or something, and then he'd pick me up and take me home. And so very supportive in that respect. But like I said, never pushed me, never forced me into doing anything. Never said, oh, you're going boxing tonight, or just left it all up to me.
you mentioned the England camp and the England call-up. Do you remember the first time you got the call-up?
Yeah, I remember
was that
it.
like?
Yeah, no, I was 15. Been boxing 2 years. 15 on my first England camp. It was in Manchester, and it was like a weekend thing. So I went down there, had a good weekend, and then I went home, and then they invited me to box in the Four Nations, and obviously I accepted. And then I won the Four Nations, which was in Scotland, and then they invited me for the Junior Olympics in America, and so I was boxing for England since I was 15 years old, till I was 24 years old.
What was that like for you, kind of, to go from Humberside to kind of, you're boxing at the Four Nations in Scotland, now you're in America? It all kind of seems like it's kind of happened quickly, and you've ended up travelling around in such a short space of time. What was that like for you? Did you take to it well?
You could say I was a bit of a mummy's boy. Loved being at home. God, I can't. There's not enough times I can count on my hands and fingers the amount of times I was homesick, and sad that I was away from home. But I got on with it, and I did it, and it toughened me up. I was travelling the world, going on training camps left, right, and centre, and there was a lot of the times where I was, second I'd go away, I'd be feeling sad and homesick, and I'd not even left yet. And I guess it's made me a stronger person. But yeah, I was only 15, going away from home, travelling the world in tournaments, being scared and nervous for fighting, and with a group of lads that we didn't quite know they weren't my friends yet, because we was building relationships, I guess. But you see kids come and go, and you never see them again.
Now, something that I'm assuming some of our viewers won't know is that you roomed with George Groves when you were an amateur. And obviously, he's a stable mate of yours now, and you two have gone on to achieve great things as professionals. But what was that like, rooming with George when you guys were amateurs? Kind of tell me about that situation. Yeah, no,
me and George got on the best out the team. There was sort of me, George, and Anthony Agogo. But Anthony used to share a room with a guy called Obed. But me and George always used to share a room together, because we was like each other. We like the same sort of things. We weren't up all night on our phones like most of the other boys, or up till early hours watching TV. We were sort of similar. We was dedicated and we worked hard, and we just got on really well. And it was we shared a lot of happy memories and some funny times and some sad times, going away and getting beaten tournaments and winning tournaments together. And it was a great experience.
Is there any particular moment of kind of rooming with George or travelling the world with George as an amateur that sticks out, good or bad?
I mean, loads. We went to the Europeans in Russia, in Saratov. We boxed there together. We both got a bronze medal. And we was in the Junior Olympics together. I won the Junior Olympics, and George had a tough fight against a guy called Bear, who was apparently one of these up-and-coming American guys trained by one of a world-famous professional coach. And he had a close one with him. Only 1 or 2 points in it, but obviously they give it to the American guy. But yeah, we had some good times. But it was one of them where we generally want each other to win. Sometimes when you're on the England camps, there's a lot of people that don't want you to succeed. Because it's competition. It's, you want to be the one that's winning, and you don't want anyone else to steal the glory. So, it's only to be expected, I guess.
So you went from there, you boxed at the European Championships in Liverpool.
Yeah.
Won a gold. What was that like?
Oh, it was brilliant. Really good. I just felt like it was a challenge every time I got into the ring to listen to what I had to do, and I sort of took it on board. I enjoyed the challenge of doing what he's telling me to do, and I boxed great. It was nice and relaxed. No one expected me to win that tournament, but me winning that tournament, beating some very good kids on the way, I thought that's when I realised, right, I can mix it with the best now at the top. And my 2012 is really on target for me, because I proved it to myself that, you know, I was up there with the best and that I can beat the best and I can go on, I can do something good here. And that was in 2008, Liverpool. That being said, 2009 was my worst ever year as a boxing.
Why was that? Was there any element of kind of what you'd achieved?
Everything had changed. They changed the coaching staff.
Yeah.
They changed the coaching staff, and they'd also changed it from 4 2-minutes to 3 3s. And everything coming back for the new year, different coaches, and I got on really well with the last coaches. And we had a good routine going, and I was enjoying it. And and then these new coaches come in and didn't get on very well. Hated being there. Just wanted to be home. Didn't want to box. It was just a really bad year for me, and I nearly, if it weren't for my family and close friends, I'd have probably quit boxing altogether.
What kind of, I mean, you mentioned that it was a very tough time for you, and obviously all of these changes and kind of coming close to throwing the towel in. Then in 2011, so a couple of years later, you pick up a silver at the Worlds.
Yeah.
So what changed from 2009 to 2011? You only lost to Cuban.
Hitting rock bottom changed.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So in 2009, and the different coaches come in, and I wasn't getting on with them, they wasn't getting on with me, and it was horrible. And then I had to change and adapt to 3-minute rounds and 3 3s instead of 4 2s. So I had to get that on board as well. And I always thought, for me, the way I am, okay, I don't pick up things straight away. It takes me a little bit longer than everybody else to actually pick up something and get it. But then once I've got it, I've got it. And then I'll go a lot past the rest because I've got it now. Yeah. But it just took me a little while to adapt and finally get it. But then when I got it, as you see, all of 2009 was bad. I didn't want to be there. I wanted to quit. Family was there. Listen, don't quit now. You've worked your whole life, dedicated yourself, and the Olympics is your dream, and you've been working for that ever since. You haven't got long now. Let's give it all you've got, and do it that way. And then I thought, well, what else do I have to lose? I'm already at sort of rock bottom in my sport. I was injured. I was seeing kids going off on tournaments, winning tournaments, doing very well, successful at my weight, and I was injured and things wasn't going my way, and I was just at the bottom. But then I just thought, no, it sort of took all the pressure off myself, and being at rock bottom, I thought, it's not so scary, you know, I'm alright. Still got all my family around me, my loved ones, and life's still good. And ever since, I think I had to reach the rock bottom to be able to take me the next few steps further on. So anyhow, I hit that, and then 2010 started coming into myself, started going away on tournaments, started winning tournaments, and starting finally to get back to myself, get back to my shape and how I was as a fighter and as I am. And then progressed ever since 2010, winning tournaments. I think I went like 26 fights without one bad decision against me in the international boxing scene, winning tournaments after tournaments after tournaments. And then I got a bad decision in the Europeans against the Turkish guy in Turkey for the bronze medal. Rubbed me blind.
You mentioned that. I mean, that's kind of like one of the things with amateur boxing, that you kind of, it's one of those really. It's still around. I mean, that's kind of why they're looking at potentially not using boxing in the Olympics going forward, which I think would be terrible for the sport. But how much does that play on your mind when you're in it? When you mention you get robbed against a Turkish fighter in Turkey, how much does that play on your mind when you're boxing as an amateur?
I mean, it's one of them where I just looked for performance. Regardless of the decision, I looked for performance. And if my performance was there, then I was sort of happy with myself, because some of the scoring was way out, you know, in certain tournaments. And I just thought, right, as long as I can come here and perform to the best of my ability, then that's all I wanted.
What was the World Championships like in 2011 in Baku?
It was good. I had one fight in the first week in a 2-week tournament, and then I had 5 fights in the second week. Bit crazy, but first fight I drew the home nations guy.
Does that sort of was that kind of running through your head again?
I thought, oh great! Yeah. I'm in Azerbaijan. I've got the Azerbaijan in first round, and they're usually they're a good solid team.
Yeah.
So I thought great, and then as we was going out, I just I sort of looked out in the arena and thought, wow, it's fairly empty. Can't really see many people for him. So I thought, great, that's good. And then as I walked out and didn't see all this, he had like 500 soldiers there for him, all cheering his name, and I just thought to myself, fucking hell. I just thought, oh fuck this, you just got to do what you got to do. See what happens, let's just go, let's just do it.
Did that kind of concentrate you in a strange way? I mean, you're somebody who you've already admitted to certainly earlier on in your amateur career suffering from kind of homesickness and stuff like that. Do you think kind of being thrust into that environment potentially helped you in that regard?
Yeah, when I seen all them walking out and I just looked at them, I just thought, oh, fuck this. I just thought, it's going to be what it's going to be. It is what it is, let's go, let's see. And that was it. So
you made it to the final against Alvarez, who's a double world champion.
Yep.
Came up short against him. What was it like being in a ring with him?
Good, very good. He taught me a few tricks. I lost the first round. I just wasn't switched on. But I thought I came back in the second round and edged the second round, and I thought I won the third. So it was a very close nip and tuck fight. The points of what he scored in the first round, he kept them the same all the way through the fight. But like I said, everything happens for a reason. But I was stood on that podium with a silver medal, sick as a dog. Looking around, I was absolutely sick. I had a silver medal, and then I'd see other kids on the podium with a bronze medal and a silver medal, and they're so happy and they're smiling and they're just buzzing, and I was just stood there like I was just sick. I had a silver medal and not gold, and that's I guess why I've achieved so much.
Yeah, again, it comes back to what we were talking about initially. If you've got that mentality that you are sick to get a silver, there's nothing wrong with. I was not happy with a silver medal. That's the thing. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with, if there are fighters who have won a bronze and it's kind of their ambition to just medal at an Olympics, then that's their thing and fair play to them. But kind of you being sick at having a silver does say a lot about your character and ultimately what kind of, I would assume, drove you onto gold in 2012.
Well, he was my aim. He drove me all the way in the build up for the Olympics. I had him in my mind as a target. I've got to beat, and he gave me the determination, the workforce, and the focus, I guess. I boxed him again though. After that,
when did you box him?
I boxed him in the Stranger tournament in Bulgaria.
Beat him?
So here's the thing. When I said about looking for performance, so I went in, and my performance was there, and I thought I won the fight. I thought I won the fight actually comfortable, 3 or 4 points up, and they give it to him by about 7 points.
Was that hard? Did you kind of look at the performance, or?
Yeah, the performance was there, and I thought like they had me as like 1 down in the first round. So I come out in the second round, tagged him straight away. I thought, right, that's my point back. Tagged him again. I thought I'm 1 up here. And then we had a few exchanges, and I thought, great, I'm at least 2 points up. But obviously they don't tell you the score till after the fight. And then went out in the third. I thought, great, another point up. So I thought I won the fight comfortable, but I lost the fight like 7 or 8 points. So I thought, well, that's a million miles out, but my performance was there, and that's what I looked at for that.
Well, that's good, and that kind of, again, propelled you into 2012. What was that like, home games? I mean, couldn't have picked
a better one, could I?
No, and I mean, I'm sure when you kind of had your aspirations of becoming Olympic champion, having that kind of London carrot dangling in front of you was a massive source of inspiration. What was it like, kind of leading into the games? Were you nervous? Kind of nervous pressure to perform for your home crowd, or?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we didn't know what to expect. Everything was nervous, and this is the biggest thing in my life that I've worked for, visualised, and had moments to myself about seeing myself on that gold medal position, you know, and somewhat what I've dreamt of all my life in boxing for this one moment. So it was a big occasion, and I'm finally there, and now I've got to sort of make it happen. But it was weird, like, I missed out on Beijing, but even 2 years before Beijing, my dad would always say to me, "You're going to be Olympic champion. You're going to be an Olympic champion." And then I missed out on Beijing, and he said, "You're still going to be an Olympic champion." And I was like, "Oh, shut up! How can I be an Olympic champion? I'm not going. I've not passed the test. I've not been able to qualify." And then obviously after the Beijing Olympics, and I won the Europeans, and then I thought, well, hang on a minute, I've got a chance here. And then obviously me and my dad actually went to Sheffield when we actually won the bid for London, and got in London, and it's the biggest moment of my life. And I picked up some of my own tricks to focus my mind on not thinking too far ahead.
What were they?
Just like, you know, you're constantly thinking about your opponent, about how the fight's going to play out, and if I beat him, I've got him next, and I could have this guy, and that's got to wipe that from your mind and just focus yourself on in the present.
Kind of burn up mental energy.
Yeah,
I'd imagine.
Yeah, it get me nervous and got all my adrenaline going. I'm thinking, I don't need to waste this adrenaline now. I need to save that.
What did you do to step away from that? Was it like playing the PlayStation, reading books, spending more time with your family? What kind of took you away from expending so much kind of mental energy?
I mean, we couldn't spend time with our family because we were constantly away. We was in the village. Just focusing my mind in this conversation in the present room now, not thinking what's going to happen in an hour or 2 hours, or just being in the present, I guess. You know, not thinking what's going to happen, just focusing on the now.
What was the most nerve-wracking part of 2012? Was it before you boxed John Joe Nevin in the final? Oh yeah, okay, your first fight. Was the most
nervous, because no one wants to lose the first fight. You know, and I draw the Italian in my first fight, and that Italian beat the Cuban in a tournament a couple of weeks previous, and we had sort of similar styles, and he was ranked like number 4 in the world or number 5 in the world, and I was ranked number 4, I think. And I thought, this isn't an easy one. But anyhow, I was a bit nervous as well, but went out there, got the win. I thought I got the win by more points, but they had it with me winning two points. But I thought, I was a little bit down after the fight, because I thought, I won the fight a lot more than 2 points. Why did they only score me 2 points? And then I found out that there was an Italian head official on there and stuff like that. So I'm like, all right, I see it now. Okay. But I just hope they just score me fair in the rest.
It's surprising. I mean, I kind of get that really with the first fight, but what was it like before the final? Did you box John Joe Nevin in the final?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that like?
Well,
before you went out?
We were stood together before we do our ring walks, and he was stood next to me, and I'm like all nervous and serious, and I look at him, and he's laughing and joking with his coach, and looking at me and smiling and chatting away with his coach. This is before we walk out, and I'm thinking, God, he's confident. Does he know something I don't?
But that's kind of, I assume potentially that's nerves manifesting itself in a different way, right?
Yeah, people act different under nerves, I guess. But yeah. So
you won the final.
Yep.
How did it feel when you had the announcement? When you knew that you were Olympic champion, all of these years and all of these kind of away from home, what was that like? Try and explain that feeling to me.
It's an hard one to explain. I sort of knew I'd won the fight coming back in the 3rd round, but then I had to ask my coach. I thought, have I won? And he didn't really say yeah, because you never know what the points are going to be.
Yeah.
But he just said, I don't know what he said. But I asked him, and then like I was stood there, and I thought, I must have it. And then when I put my hand up, it's hard to explain a bundle of emotions that are just so up and down. Like, you're happy, you're smiling, you're crying. You know, you're on a roller coaster of emotions, and it's really hard to give you the correct words to say how you was feeling. Like, shocked, like, is this really happening? Not really sinking into the brain. What's going on?
I mean, that whole summer, I remember that summer. Well, obviously you do as well, but I mean, you're in that kind of bubble. You're focused on what you're doing. I was a spectator, and I was watching with my girlfriend at home. That really captivated the whole country. The 2012 Olympics was one of the best things, certainly from a sporting point of view, to happen in my lifetime. Does it mean more that it was the home games and kind of you? I mean, you obviously had Anthony Joshua and, you know, a lot of other fighters we still see today in that group. And it's kind of like, I think part of the affinity and the affection towards that group, I mean, it's different from if you'd have won gold elsewhere. You kind of always have that bond, you know.
It made such more of a difference with it being in the UK. And then I looked at the rest of the Olympics thinking, if I win gold in that Olympics, it's nowhere near going to mean anything to winning gold in my own country. And I didn't realise that until after everything had happened. I'm just thinking, winning Olympic gold is still awesome, still brilliant, fantastic, but winning it in your own country just adds so much more value, I think.
Do you remember seeing your mum and dad the first time you saw them after you came out of the ring? Were they oh, I'm sure they were watching, but you have to do all of your stuff after the fight.
Sort of did a lap of the arena with a flag.
Do you remember seeing them?
Yeah, they was all crying. Yeah, it was nice.
So after that, you went to go see the Queen.
Yep.
Well, not straight from there, but eventually you went to go and see the Queen in the New Year's honours list. Your MBE. Yeah. Luke Campbell MBE. What was that like for a kid from Hull?
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, just being able to see the Queen and speak to her for a few seconds of what it was and get like a medal and award. It was brilliant at that time. It was awesome.
What was the Queen like?
She was lovely. She chatted. How's training going? Are you competing much? I was quite surprised really by the questions she was asking me.
Avid boxing fan, maybe. Get her on a podcast.
Yeah.
The Queen, that could probably do some good numbers, I reckon.
I reckon it'd do great numbers.
Then after that, and this is something that I actually forgot about. You're dancing on ice. What was that like? I forgot about this until I think today I remembered.
Yeah, it was a great experience because I had maybe a year out of boxing after the Olympics. Yeah. So it was a great experience. Somewhat very different to what I'm used to. You got to remember, all I've ever done is box all my life and go away in tournaments and compete and being very serious, and you know, this is it. This is my life. And then obviously going into a TV show and being around other celebrities that are in the TV world and seeing how they do everything. It was athletes a different breed to a lot of other people and celebrities and people in the industry. They're different.
Did that competitive side kind of filter into that? You got close.
Yeah, I mean, I got to the final, but I just looked at. I mean, I was ready after week 5. I was ready. I thought, if I go now, I'm happy. I've got to week 5. You know, I was all right at skating. I got better, but I didn't particularly enjoy skating a lot. Like, where in the boxing, I'm the first in the gym and the last out. But on the ice, I was the first on the ice and the first one off. You know. But it was a great experience. It gave me some exposure and opened my audience up, which was cool. And I remember being somewhere after the show, months after the show, and I was in an elevator, and and some guy turned around and goes, "Oh, Luke Campbell." So I goes, "Hi, are you alright?" He goes, "Yeah, listen, I just want to say how proud I am of you." He goes, "You was awesome on Dance on Ice." And I thought he was going to mention the medal, the Olympics, but he was Dancing on Ice. So I thought, all right, I'll take it. Thank you, appreciate that.
It's always nice to have somebody say that they're very proud of what you've done. And so whether it's the thing that you've dedicated 15 years to, or the thing that you've dedicated 3 months to, is still nice.
Yeah. Still nice. I'll still take it.
Yeah,
Thanks.
it's fine. It's fine. Praise is all good. So that's 2013. You've got 2 kids. You've got 2 boys.
Yep.
So around that sort of time, your youngest is 6.
My youngest is 6.
So that would have been kind of around-ish the sort of thing. I'm assuming your youngest would have already been born at that point. When you were doing dancing on Ice?
When was he born? He was born.
Don't say when was he born. What if your missus watches this?
Just figuring it out now. Yeah. No, he wasn't born then.
What's it like having kids being a boxer?
It's hard to give you a different answer
kind of
because it's been my life. So for me to say, to eliminate my kids and say, oh, what it's like without being a boxer without kids, I ain't lived that life as a professional boxer without kids. But it's great. I love it. They're
kind of at the stage now where they know what Dad does.
Yeah,
for a
they're
living.
asking to come to my fights. And
what's that like?
Yeah, I've let my oldest son come to one of the fights, and because he's like, at first I was worried in case I got hurt in the ring, for them to see that. But I said to my son, I said, listen, you can come. I said, but it can be quite brutal in there, and if I get hurt, are you going to be all right? He goes, I don't care. So I'm like, all right, yeah, you can come then. Yeah, no.
Oh, cheers. That's
cheers,
fun.
Yeah.
One of the first times we really spoke was in Glasgow for Taylor and World Boxing Super Series, and I remember being around the table with some quite close to the knuckle chat with Shane McGuigan and everybody, and you were kind of saying that Lindsay, your partner, considers herself to have 3 kids, with you being one of them.
Yeah.
How important has it been? I mean, if you look through boxing kind of over the years, Mike Tyson, Robin Givens, and boxers can kind of get stuck with the wrong type of woman occasionally, and boxers who end up with like a strong family base can kind of the kind of saying of behind every great man is a great woman. But what's it like? What's she been like throughout all of this? Because there are ups and downs in boxing, and having to raise 2 kids when you are away a lot isn't easy. No, it's not. We've been together 12 years, and I guess we've been through it all together. And that statement, what he said then, I believe is true. Yeah, she's a great woman behind me, and when I can sometimes be whinging about this or this ain't fair, that's not fair, or things ain't gone my way, she told me, she'd give it to me straight. Luke, shut up, stop whinging, just get on with it. Who's the boss? She the boss?
No.
No?
I'm going to tell everyone I'm the boss. No, do you know what? There isn't really a boss. It's whatever, like, I'm easygoing on certain things. She can be easygoing on certain things, but if there's something that I don't like, then that's it, and vice versa, really. It's we work together, I guess. Yeah, we work together. But she was with me when I had nothing. She got with me because she liked who I was as a person. She's quite weird.
God knows why.
God knows why.
Wait for the Olympic gold medal.
But she got with me when I had nothing. I was on the GB camps. After paying my diesel and my expenses, I had like £30 a month to myself to live on. And I had nothing.
Goes a long way in Hull, doesn't it? £30 a month.
Yeah, I guess it does.
Sorry to all of our Hull viewers, please, that was a joke.
But I seen that as a challenge and think, right, that's fine. It is what it is. Now, I tried doing the working thing with boxing, but then my boxing become a little bit of a chore, and I was tired, and I just thought, I don't want that. I want So I just knocked the boxing on the head and suffered with the money side of things, and just I'd rather go with nothing, trying to create my dream, and that's what I did. And when me and Lindsay got together, you know, she was in a good position herself, but I wasn't. But I'd never borrowed money off anyone. So what was mine, and I'd get along with what I had. Yeah, so I had nothing, so I knew that she's there for me. And it's funny when the Olympics come out, oh, look at his girlfriend, she's with him because he's got an Olympic gold medal, and it's like, nah, mate, not quite.
Because you're such a great guy.
Because I'm a great guy.
So you mentioned earlier on that you kind of took the break. It was about a year, wasn't it, before you went from Olympics to turning pro?
Yeah.
Why was that? What was the reason for the delay?
Because me and Anthony Agogo both said to each other in the Olympics, if we both get a gold medal, we'll quit boxing, and that's how it went.
Messed it up by getting a bronze.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, twat.
Yeah.
But when I was off and I was doing the show and stuff like that, and I just had such a deep burning desire inside myself, thinking I'm nowhere near done. I need to go into the professional boxing and see what I'm made of. Let's see what I can do. And that was it. Still a big burning desire inside of me to go and to be better than I was, and you know, and to see what I'm made of and to see what I can do.
So you turned over with Eddie and Matchroom. Why Eddie and Matchroom?
Well, they're the best promoters in the UK. Sky Sports behind them, and it's just the best thing. It was just the right thing to do, and I'm not. And I still think, even to this day, it was the best decision I could have made.
Did you find it difficult making the transition? Somebody who enjoyed, a tremendous amount of success as an amateur, and then going into the program. And it is, I mean, obviously I'm not a fighter, but I'm an avid boxing fan. It is completely different. They are like two different sports. What was that like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I had the mentality back then, thinking it wasn't. Thinking, how is it? It's boxing, and you hit someone and you don't get it. It's the same thing. But this, I mean, I don't believe I was really taught the professional game the way it is now, and that's why I feel like now, since I joined Shane summer last year, I feel like, wow, finally now I feel like I've got a proper team around me that actually cover every angle of the professional side of things, of strength, from punching the way you punch as a professional, for more power, and what your weight should be, and everything like that. You know, I was, for the first 3 years of my professional career, I was walking around a couple of pounds over my weight.
Yeah.
Like, what? It's crazy. Because I was never taught the right ways to be a professional boxer. Still treating it as an amateur, as an amateur sport.
Kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier about kind of having to take a little bit longer to adapt, and then obviously once you get it,
I feel like I've got it now.
Was it only since you kind of worked with Shane that happened?
Sort of, yeah, you could say that. I feel like right now I'm finally getting it. I'm finally getting this now, and I'm got the right team around me that are covering everything, and I just think, yeah, this is when I finally get it, and I'm going to come into my own now. And I still believe these next 4 years or whatever will be the best years of my career by far. Best performances. I feel like I'm growing and getting better each day, and yeah, I still believe that there's a lot more to come from me yet.
So how was that transition? Because you kind of blew through your first few fights as a pro.
Yep.
At that time, were you still under the impression of like, oh, this is easy, this is kind of it? Were you kind of naive to the fact that there was that transitional?
You know, weirdly enough, I never had a lot of confidence in myself, strangely enough, because I didn't feel I had a team around me that was there for me. That's the truth of it, really. Yeah, just I felt like I was going in there alone, you know. And I mean, I am in there alone, don't get me wrong, when the bell goes, but still having, you know, in that the teams around you is there, and the fire, and the with you all the way, it's different.
how did you handle kind of the Olympic gold medalist expectations? Did you feel that? Did you feel like the burden of pressure?
Yeah, but rightly so, because at the end of the day, I put that pressure on my own self by being successful. So if you're successful, and then you're worried about the pressure you've got on yourself to continue to be successful and to perform, that's on you. I put that on me, so I didn't want a massive big deal to me.
How soon after that? So this is kind of going into 2014. Was it around that time that your dad got sick? Was that? the time?
Yeah. I mean, you could say I've certainly had my ups and downs in the professional side of like my dad got sick. I took maybe 9 months out. Very hard to deal with. That hit me quite hard. I'd be going training, I'd be sparring, and I'd just be crying behind my gloves in sparring, and be angry and I don't know. But anyhow, I took some time out and then got back into it and stuff. And yeah, I've certainly had my ups and downs in the professional game. It's not been a straightforward ride for me. But then again, neither was the amateurs. I had a lot of ups and downs, like I was telling you about how I started.
Yeah.
I had a lot of ups and downs, but it's my dedication, my discipline that just got me there, and I came out with the results I wanted, and now I feel like I'm really climbing now as a professional, and this year is going to be a great year for me.
Not to dwell on it too much, but the decision to take the time away from the ring, was that your own decision? Was that kind of, not that anyone would make the decision for you, ultimately it is your decision, but was that because you felt like you couldn't necessarily concentrate on what you were doing? You mentioned the crying in sparring.
Yeah, I was crying. I wouldn't want to box in sparring. I'd just want to stand there and I'd want to get it, and me just hit back and just be frustrated and, like I say, crying behind my gloves and stuff like that. And I just thought, wow, I can't do that. I can't concentrate on an opponent and prepare myself mentally for a fight when I've got this going on. Couldn't do it.
What was the time spent doing? Were you obviously you were spending time with your dad and your family, but was it to kind of did you spend some of that time trying to get your head right, or was it just very much a place of kind of just looking after your dad and kind of being around the family?
Bit of both, yeah. Being around the family a lot. Still doing boxing training, but just training on my own really, and that's it. That's all I've ever done.
What made the decision for you to come back? Did you feel like you were okay?
My dad got to a certain place where he still had it, but he was fighting with it, and he was good, he was strong, and he didn't want me to take time out. Certainly not, neither did my mum, but I had to do it mentally for me. So it was just hard to switch on properly to it, but I was always constantly training doing sessions on my own, going to the gym, hitting the bag or whatever, during it, yeah. And then I just thought, right, okay, my dad's at a position now, it's sort of sunk in what's happening, it's digested, and right, we'll crack on again.
Did you find it, not easy is the wrong word, but when you made the decision to come back and start fighting again, was it easy? It's not the right word, but I don't have the right word to kind of put that to one side and concentrate on your boxing. Was it kind of still always
Don't get me wrong, it's not gone anywhere, but you just handle it better. You just handle it better, and I can be more focused on what I've got to do.
That makes you, do you feel like that experience, obviously while terrible, did you feel like similar to some of the stuff that you went through, as you mentioned, as an amateur, that did toughen you up and made you the person that you are today, fighter that you are today?
Yeah, I guess, yeah, you could say that. And even going over to America for 2.5 years, I'd go over there on my own, anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks. I'd be by myself, and I'd be going in different gyms I've never been in before, and I'm sparring different guys, and I'm in their gym, and they've got 20 people around the ring, and it's very hostile situations, and they're all screaming for him if he catches me, and getting into some wars, and I'm like, yeah, come on then. And it certainly toughens you up, and I went into a lot of gyms out there, from no one knowing who I was, and gaining a lot of respect, because that's what you had to do.
Now, the decision to go over to America and hook up with Jorge Rubio, that came off the back of your loss to Yvonne Mende. Just talk to me about kind of making that decision and what you feel went wrong in the build-up to that fight. I mean, it's no secret that you had issues going into that fight. Just try and explain that.
Yeah, I mean, it's something I didn't like to dwell on a lot, but it's... I mean, I got him on 2.5 weeks' notice, not seen any footage of him whatsoever, and I was sparring amateurs on the back foot, smart boxers that move around, amateurs.
Literally the polar opposite to Yvonne Mende.
Yeah, not really sparring any professional guys, similar styles or nothing, and then was just... doing too much too late, like, because I'm thinking in my own head, I've got to work hard, I've got to be fit, and doing hard long sessions far too close to when I should be doing them, and then obviously that the week of the fight, I was just like, I was drained, I was just knackered, I just didn't have nothing in me. It was like the lights was on, no one was in, body was aching, tired, wasn't recovered. Because I'd not tapered any of my training or nothing, and then it's just like one of them. I knew I wasn't right going in there, but I just didn't have anyone to say that, listen, forget this one. You're not in the right frame of mind, like physically, mentally, but just didn't have anyone there for me, any proper preparation, any weight, and he's just like, I probably got in the ring 2 pound over my weight, because I was just flat at the weight. I was dead. I'd had one meal after weighing in and I was done. I was bloated and I was done. Probably got in the ring maybe 2 pound overweight, 137 or something stupid like that.
Wow.
And he'd have got in the ring easy 145, easy.
Solid guy.
He was a solid guy, and his biggest attribute is his toughness.
Yeah.
He's like made out of granite, that guy.
He's got that like big head, thick neck, like
and he's just
calves.
Just tough, fit, strong, and his defense was really good.
How soon after that fight did you think, okay, I need to make changes? Was it immediate? Was it something that you had to have a look at?
No, it wasn't immediate. It was maybe a month or so. Well, yeah, maybe say about around the month mark time, maybe. I think for some weeks. I just thought it's no good. I just need to be more professional, more in what I'm doing, and more preparation. And the only reason I went with George is because I'd done pads with George. Like, I've been over to Miami a couple of times previous, done like 10 days of working with George, or like a week here, 2 weeks there. So he was the only other person I'd worked with in boxing.
Wow.
So I just went to him. Like, I didn't sit back and think, right, let's go train with this guy, let's go train with that guy, let's have a look. He was the only other person I knew, so I just went to him without actually sitting back and thinking, let's try a different few people. And I just sort of jumped into it, really.
How did you find George as a trainer?
Good trainer, good boxing ability, likes his footwork stuff, his combinations, and yeah, he's a good trainer, but he's a lovely person, nice guy, and I went with him, and he was just straight off the bat, really, just rushed into it without, I should have gone round people training, and I never.
I'm sure you wouldn't have had any kind of shortage of offers if you did kind of put it out there that you were looking for a new trainer.
Yeah, I guess. But I just didn't do it. I only went with him because he's the only other person I worked with, and I enjoyed doing pads with him.
You came back, you boxed Gary Sykes. Then after that, you were on the floor again against Argenis Mendes.
Yep.
What was that like? I mean, obviously you got dropped in the fight against Mende.
Yeah.
That, I'm assuming, helped you when you got dropped again the second time.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things, right? When Mende, when I went down against Mende, so it was his left hook, I jabbed and stepped up, and what was weird before that fight, And like in the build up that week when I was saying I was drained, I was tired, like my balance, I just didn't have no balance. But anyhow, regardless of that, I like jabbed and stepped and my foot was in the air and he hit me with the hook and I fall down. Wasn't stung, wasn't wobbled, wasn't hurt in any way. I just got hit with my foot in the air and he knocked me on my ass because my feet wasn't under me. And that was it. That was it. And with exactly the same with Mendez, I just got hit square on with a right hand.
Yeah,
the right hand did nothing to me. But I was just square on, and I just like the shot just like pushed me on my back. But that's what it was. It was like a push, got on my back, and I was completely fine. And that's the only round he won.
What was the feeling like?
And it was the same with the Linares.
Yeah.
As the Linares was attacking me, my mistake was I leaned too far back on my back foot and I was stuck. And he followed through with the right hand, and I had nowhere else to go. And he knocked me down on my ass. I was completely fine. Wasn't dazed, wasn't hurt or nothing. Just got caught in a bad position, and he knocked me over. That was it.
What's it like when you get knocked down in a boxing ring?
Well, when I got knocked down against Linares, I just said, "Fuck's sake, Luke!" I said, "It's round 2. I said, get the fuck up. You're embarrassing yourself, and get on with it now. Come on." And that's what I did. And I just thought, all right, okay, all right. Good shot. Good shot, good sir. You caught me with that one. But he never caught me with another shot after that. And I thought I outboxed him and won at least 7 rounds, including the knockdown. Thought I won 7 rounds. But anyhow, listen, I had to do a bit more than that. I was across the pond. I was in his back garden. I was on his show, his promotion show. They were
looking at making that big fight afterwards.
It was always, even if I'd have beat him up a lot better, they'd have probably still give it to him. I would like a rematch with Linares because I'd love to put that one right. Love to get that right.
Go to 140 to fight him.
I think with the right fight, he'd come back down to 135.
Yeah. I assume you likely have to win a world title for that to happen, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm mandatory for one.
You are? What's going on with that?
Yeah, I've been mandatory since September, yeah. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but, you know, I want to fight for a world title, and I'm in a good place physically, mentally, and I want to get that now and start showing the world how good I am and what I'm capable of doing. But it's always, everybody always says, oh, wait until you get the world title, but I want to do it now.
Do you feel like you have to make up for lost time in your career? Because you are 31, which, I mean, you're a young 31, admittedly, but you have had, through no fault of your own, of course, kind of periods away from the sport.
Yeah, I've had, like I say, I've had ups and downs, definitely, and it's never been a straight, easy road for me, but it is what it is. I'm not going to sit here and moan about it and complain about it, because at the end of the day, I'm still in a fantastic position, and you know, but I want these big fights, and I want to be. My ultimate goal is not just to grab a world title fight and then say I'm world champion. My ultimate goal is to be known as one of the best, and I think I'll start getting that word across starting this year.
And going back to the Linares fight, and this is. It's something we've spoken about before on camera very briefly, and because of that I don't want to kind of take the piss and go into it massively deeply here when we have already spoken about it, but losing your dad in the build up to the Linares fight, what was that like?
Tough. When I first got the phone call, I knew straight away that something was wrong, because my older brother who rang me, I thought, he won't be ringing me on a normal call because it'll charge him, and he's a tight ass. So I thought, something's got to be up straight away for him to be ringing me normal.
Yeah.
And it was late. It was like 6:30 my time. So I'm thinking, around near midnight your time. I thought that was a bit weird. And anyhow, my brother rang me and told me. And then I just went for a walk. And I was gutted because it was obviously literally like 2 weeks before the fight. And yeah, my dad had always said that he's not going anywhere until he sees me being a world champion. So that probably upset me the most.
Was it difficult to kind of keep that to yourself? Because it's something that wasn't really known until after the fight. I mean, that must have been so difficult, or was it difficult? Did you kind of, because you still got to fight?
It was easy like that.
Yeah,
because it was easy like that because I didn't want anyone to know. For one, it's no one else's business, and for two, I didn't want to give my opponent the upper hand, thinking that this kid's emotionally shot to bits. You know, his emotions are all over the place. His head's not on it. His head can't be right. Didn't want to give him the extra confidence of thinking that, you know, he's got the upper hand.
I think that shows an incredible emotional awareness, really, and that's to kind of have, again, it kind of goes back to the stuff we were talking about earlier with kind of these things that, for you to kind of deal with it that way, kind of shows your elite mentality, I think, from that perspective. I mean, potentially stupid question, were your emotions all over the place at that point, or did you try your best to kind of block it out? Or was it?
Some days I'd have panic attacks when I started thinking about it, so I just completely had to shut it out completely. And in a way, it was probably better that I wasn't around any of my family. I was on my own. So I didn't want it comforting. I didn't want cuddling or come here. Didn't want any of that.
After the fight, what was the release like?
Finally, I can let go. I can actually cry without feeling bad, and that's what it was.
And get home to the family and kind of
but then again, I sort of didn't want to go home.
Yeah,
because then I had
you have to realise it, and it's there.
Face the music. I was away. So I shut it out, and I was away. So going home then makes you sort of realise, shit, this has happened. So I didn't really want to go back, and I got a flight back on my own anyhow.
Who was at the airport?
I just went home by myself.
So nobody came to meet you? You went from there to...
No one came to meet me. I didn't want anyone to come and meet me. Not that I can remember.
After that, I mean, the obvious period of kind of mourning and grief that you have with the family, how soon after that were you thinking about boxing?
You got to remember, boxing's my life.
Yeah.
I've dedicated and give my life to boxing, and I live it every day in, day out. And this isn't a game to me. What I don't understand is when I see people that have been beat in the ring afterwards, and they're smiling and they're having jokes, I'm just thinking, you've just been beat. How can you be smiling and joking with that guy? Like, you've just been beat. For me, it's the worst thing in the world, because I give it everything. So it's, you know, so I was back on it, say, a few weeks later, I guess, going in the gym on my own and practicing technique and stuff like that.
And you went from there, and you split with George.
Yeah.
What forced that to happen? Was that something that had been on your mind for a while, or was it again a case of, you know, I've taken another loss, you sit down, you kind of have a look at things, and then decided that? Was it something that had been brewing? I
mean, a couple of reasons is that the language barrier was getting harder for some strange reason, but I just needed to be based back here in the UK. When you're away from everybody, and it's just not nice. I'm away from the press, the media, my family, and I'm on my own, and like won't get in any attention, any promotion or nothing. So that was a main reason. And you know, George, like I say, was a lovely guy and we're still friends, but just felt like I outgrew that.
And kind of taken the positives from that experience.
Yeah, just sort of outgrew it, and you know, yeah.
How did you land on Shane McGuigan? Obviously, reunion with your old roommate, George Groves.
Yeah,
did you speak to George before?
Obviously, yeah, I mean, I'd chat with George before it, but what had happened was, obviously, me and George was very close on the England camps, and then he turned professional a lot earlier than what I did, and then we just sort of drifted paths, went down our own paths. But, you know, our paths has brought us back together again, and it's been great working in the gym with him and seeing him train again as a world champion. You know, so it's our paths has brought us back together, and it's been great being around him again.
What's it like working with Shane?
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's really good.
How soon did you know that was the fit for you? That was the right fit?
After the first day, I just thought he's very professional. He's on it. He's thinking all the time about how to improve, what to do, assessing my style. Like, he's got two tall southpaws in myself and Josh Taylor, and he trains us both different. And I just think that's usually you get the coach that'll just train everybody the same, no matter what height, shape and size you are or your abilities. They just train the same thing to everyone. But Shane's different. He assesses your style, works what's best for you, knows what's best for you, and then works on your attributes and stuff like that.
Now, you mentioned this earlier, kind of like, you know, you're now with a professional coach who's going to coach you as a professional fighter.
Yeah, teach me the ways of the professional game, which I've only just started realising the ways of the professional game. I never known it until now.
Do you think there's an element of you that kind of wishes you hooked up with Shane earlier, or in a way are you kind of glad of the experiences that you've gone through?
Yeah, I mean, it'd been great to that was Shane ringing me.
Sorry, Shane.
Yeah, it'd have been great to have gone with Shane from the start, because I think, well, what type of fighter would have been out? But again, everything happens for a reason, I guess, you know. And I went on a different path, but now I feel like I'm here now, finally here, and we're working good. What's
it like being in the gym? It's a gym that I'm fortunate enough to go to quite a bit.
Yeah, great. Love it. All the people in there, great. We all work very hard. It's tough, and yeah, I'm really loving boxing. I've never had so much flair, and yeah, he's bringing the best out of me.
What's the future like for Luke Campbell?
The future is bright. 2019 is going to be a great year for me. It's going to be a year where I'm going to get crowned world champion, and start to show everybody how good I am and what I'm capable of doing. And it's going to be a great year, and you know, I'm excited for it. And yeah, I want to be the best. That's all I've ever wanted to be, the best.
I think that's as good a time as any to kind of leave it there. I think the call from Shane might be my cue to wrap it up as well. Luke Campbell, been a real pleasure sitting down with you today. Thanks very much for coming down.
Thanks for having me.
And appearing on the Boxing Social podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I wish you all the best in 2019.
Yeah, thank you very much.